definition of attribute closure. So attribute closure of a variable x is a set of all the attributes that can be determined from x. So in other words, the attribute closure of x would contain all the attributes which are functionally dependent on x. So for instance, let's say we have a table or relation named R, and this table contains these five columns or attributes w, x, y, z, and a, and these are the functional dependencies of this table, where you can see that w can determine x, x can determine y, and y can determine z. So now we compute the attribute closure of w. So here you can see that w can determine itself. W, that's the trivial dependency that every attribute can determine itself, and from w you can see this functional dependency that w can determine x, so I included x over here, and then you again consult these functional dependencies and you see that from x you can derive y, so I included y here, and from y you can derive z, so I included z here. So this is the attribute closure of w. And next we compute the attribute closure of x. So x can determine itself, so I included x, that's the trivial dependency, and from x you can determine y, so I included y here, and from y you can determine z, so I included z here. And now we see the attribute closure of attribute y, and according to the trivial dependency y can determine itself, so I include y here, y can determine y, and from this functional dependencies you can see that y can determine z, so I included z here. And then we see the attribute closure of the attribute z, and z by definition of trivial dependency can determine itself, so I include z here, and from z you cannot derive any other column as from this functional dependencies set. So finally we see the attribute closure of columns attribute w and a. So according to the trivial dependency, wa can determine itself, so I included w and a as it is, and then from w you can determine x, I included x, from x you can determine y, so I included y, from y you can determine z, so I included z. So this is the attribute closure of wa. So the attribute closure of wa includes all the columns or all the attributes of this relation R. So this is it.